Raw, February 12th, 2024. While we all hope that the show is actually good, on paper, the official preview that WWE has sent out is drier than the Grand Canyon. It lacks a pulse, and this show on paper is dreadful. We'll go over it in just a little bit in this upload. Also, Brock Lesnar continues to be removed and even erased from the WWE. Recently, once again being pulled from another big piece of WWE. We'll talk all about it. Chad Gable wants to finish his story. We'll talk about what that story is, and does he have a point? Also, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, rocks back on toxicity and what he calls bullshit clickbait garbage in the community. We'll talk about what's got The Rock saying enough. All of this coming up in today's upload. And I know what you guys are thinking, right? I'll get this out of the way now. Yes, Seth Rollins has invited 2 VIP guests to WrestleMania. And it is indeed Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So in case if you guys were thinking, oh no, I hope WrestleMania 2 nights, I hope it doesn't come and go without any visuals of Taylor Swift on the big Tron. There is a chance Seth Rollins has invited Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Of course, we're just having a lot of fun. It's just to start this on a lighthearted mood, this upload, guys. That's a true story. Seth did invite them. I doubt very much Actually, Travis Kelce might show up, bro. I mean, he talks a lot of WWE. He gave a WWE-style pitch in the locker room, we're being told. A lot of what he does is for the theatrics, WWE style. So maybe you could see those 2 at WrestleMania. Now, do you want to see them or not? That's another story. That has been a huge debate in the NFL world, man. All right, we'll move on. But before we get to the bigger stories that we teased in the cold open, on a serious note, want to send much love, prayers, strength, support over to Maryse, the beautiful wife of The Miz, former and still sometimes WWE superstar Maryse. She's getting a big medical procedure done. Some heavy stuff there, so that's all I'm going to say about it. But we do hope for the best possible outcome and the best going forward for Maryse. And we hope to see you back sometime soon in the near future. Maryse, we're thinking about you. All the best. All right, so where do you guys want to start? Let's start with the Raw preview. Screw it, right? Let's get this done now because this is just dreadful, man. We're 7 weeks away from WrestleMania. 7 weeks away. The undercard, if you guys want to know just how bad it is, I've been telling you, the wrestlers, right? This is what I was hearing from my people down in Florida. And now everybody that is speaking about the card, all the wrestlers, they're confirming BC's report. Sethington Rollins truthfully doesn't have a clue what he's doing for Mania. LA Knight truthfully doesn't have a clue what he's doing for Mania. These interviews are as sincere as they can possibly give. And the latest WWE superstar, just in an interview, asked truthfully, like, what's your plans or what do you think? It's head Dominic Mysterio from his heart said, dude, I truly do not know. I'm usually the last anyway to find out. But even though we're this close to WrestleMania, I have no idea what I'm involved in. So it doesn't matter what part of the card you're on. You could be a champion, the champion like Sethington. You could be a top star like LA Knight. You could be mingling around in the mid-card like Dominic Mysterio. Nobody knows what they're doing. If you want to have a confirmed match, I think you would have to go to like Bayley and Io. Bayley and Io, they're teasing Jay and Gunther. There's still talk about that possibly going on at the Elimination Chamber instead, so they don't really know. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns still could be switched at any moment into a triple threat with The Rock, or even a tag team match where Roman wouldn't even have to defend his championship on night 1 and then pull some flooziness on night 2. There's all this talk going around. Company clueless, Levesque McMahon clueless, the one money match they had, Rock Roman sitting in their lap, they absolutely let it implode thanks to some crying fans on the social doohickey machine. And now here we are, where nothing makes sense, everybody looks like a fool, and there's nowhere near a completed card. And now we're doing a bunch of random qualifying matches just to get into a schmaz match called the Elimination Chamber. So here's tonight's card. This is what's supposed to get us damn excited for WrestleMania. Get us excited for the Chamber. The New Day and Jey Uso versus Imperium. Yep, we just did Jey Uso face-to-face with Gunther last week, and we said, well, this has potential to be fun, whether they do this at Mania or they do it at the Chamber. Whether Jey Uso's the guy to take it or not. This could be fun if done correctly. They're already facing each other in action, guys. That did not take long. You'll see 6-man tags. You'll see tag team matches. You might even see them face each other before Mania. If they decide to do this match at Mania, you're going to see some variation of Jey versus Gunther 87 times in the next 7 weeks. Do the math. I know. Steiner math. But this is what the company does. Instead of building a fun, interesting story, we're just going to have them face each other 1,000 times. And then we'll get to the pay-per-view, the premium live, and they'll wrestle again. We shouldn't be seeing Jey Uso taking on Gunther in any variation. Build the storyline. Gunther should be chasing Jey Uso backstage in the parking lot in the street with a monster truck, for all I care. Later in the night, Jey Uso blows up the monster truck. Gunther just escaped. I don't care what story you're telling me, but tell me a story. That's what pro wrestling was based on for decades. Paul Levesque McMahon learned from Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Just have them face each other 1 billion times, then get to the premium live pay-per-view and have them do it again. This time, people will pay money to see what they've already seen 1,000 times before. No. If you're wondering if BC is excited to see Imperium in a 6-man tag with the New Day and Jey Uso, that's a hard no. Liv Morgan versus Zoe Stark. The winner goes into the Elimination Chamber. Let's just get this done with. I like Liv Morgan. I'm hearing she could be added to the talked about Becky Lynch-Rhea Ripley matchup. They could add Liv Morgan in there somehow. So if that's what the plan is, let's just get Liv in there. I don't know how you're going to have Zoe flat on her back yet again looking up at the lights, but this is the pickle that WWE has not just found themselves in, but put themselves in. Big Bronson Reed versus Bob Lashley. Big Bronson Reed, Bob Lashley. Winner goes to the men's Elimination Chamber, so we can have that schmaz match, and the winner of that at the Chamber will then take on Sethington. That's how we're going to come to the conclusion of who's taking on Seth at WrestleMania. That's how we're going to find out who's taking on Rhea at WrestleMania. I'm cool with it, right? The Chamber, something big on the line. Make it fun. All of these qualifying matches. It's not fun. You can easily say, well, BC, it makes it more realistic because people have to qualify. First of all, you're seeing a bunch of rematches we've seen in the past. So how much fun are these matches? No, I would rather you just name the 6 damn names so we can get on with it so the shows can be better. I don't need to go through the process of trying to make pro wrestling realer than it is. I just need you to entertain me, captivate me, make these shows interesting. It's a 3-hour show. I don't need to see 17 qualifying matches. What are you qualifying for? Another schmaz match? To get to a match, we should already be in the process of having a story for. It's WrestleMania. Seth and his challenger should already be created. 100 over the next 2 weeks, 100 qualifying matches. These are fillers, guys. They're fillers. You've already seen Bob Lashley and Bronson. April 10th, you can go all the way back to then. I know for a fact they faced each other. Bob Lashley and Bronson Reed nearly a year ago. Then they were in a bunch of triple threats with Austin Theory. So Lashley and Bronson, I've already seen them face each other. Now we have to watch it again 7 weeks before Mania. And that's supposed to go, man, Elimination Chamber's really heating up. R-Truth is going to take on McDonuts. Oh, I'm sure there's going to be some fun there, right? A lot of giggling, right? Because R-Truth is funny, right? That's what I always hear. And he is. Him and Damian Priest have a good, man, they have chemistry. This McDonuts and R-Truth thing, this is dragging on. And the problem is, it's crossing the line from funny to just absurdity, right? The silliness is becoming too stupid. Like what happened last week and how McDonuts lost that match. What is Truth doing putting a t-shirt on Dominic? Donuts stops his match to put a wad of cash in his trunks. This is becoming stupid. Careful. I like R-Truth. I like the comedy. But when I'm searching on this whole preview list of something that's going to be fun, intriguing, captivating, make me feel like the Elimination Chamber is something special, make me feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania. R-Truth McDonuts? No, it doesn't do it. And then LA Knight, is going to take on Ivar. It'd be good to see LA Knight from the Blue brand bring some star power to this 3-hour show, because if you're wondering, Cody Rhodes is not even advertised in the official preview. I think he was supposed to be on the show, but not Raw itself. Or maybe they'll just have him unannounced. He was on SmackDown's dark match, just not on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes. So, being told that indeed Cody Rhodes was there, and I believe he beat Solo Sikoa. So Solo, we've made uploads on this, guys. Solo continues his losing streak. Ever since absolutely annihilating Jonathan Cena, Paul Levesque McMahon, he just slapped Cena in the face. Not literally, but figuratively. Cena did the ultimate deed for Solo. And Paul Levesque McMahon said, thanks, this is what I'm going to do with what you did for Solo. Watch what I do to keep that momentum. And Triple H took a sledgehammer, figuratively, not literally, but he took a sledgehammer and he crushed Solo's booking and everything that Cena built for Solo, because Solo has lost every single match since. And that's about 25 matches, if you're wondering, roughly. That's wild. TV, house shows, PLEs, doesn't matter. He's lost them all. So I think I think it was Solo who he beat in the dark match on Friday, but no Cody Rhodes, no Roman Reigns, no Rock. The only thing on Friday Night SmackDown was Paul Levesque McMahon taking some jabs at The Rock. And again, Triple H cannot face The Rock because he has a gimmick in his chest. He has a pacemaker. So I said the same thing on the Friday Night SmackDown review. I'll say now, if Paul Levesque McMahon holds a cell phone and an electric toothbrush at the same time, he will implode and turn into pixie dust. So he can't wrestle The Rock. So basically, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns' whole feud and the whole storyline for 40 is based upon the backs of The Rock and Paul Levesque McMahon. Because they don't have a story other than that. The whole finish my story was the story for 39. It went away all of 2023 and even into 2024. And now with just 7 weeks to go, Cody and Roman is going to be built upon the backs of The Rock and Paul Levesque McMahon. That's what it looks like. So I say that because Cody Rhodes, it doesn't look like he's advertised for the show as of now. So they're bringing LA Knight over to have a match with Ivar. LA Knight versus Ivar. If that intrigues you guys, man, if that's really going, that's going to be amazing, man. When LA Knight hits the BTF on Ivar, it's going to be wild. That's it. I don't have anything else, guys. That's the preview. And then there's like side stories where they're teasing you might see Nia Jax, because Nia is upset with Rhea. And they're going to face each other at the Chamber. So you're probably going to see Nia show up. Sami Zayn. No, is he SmackDown? No, he's Raw, but he was over on SmackDown. He got beat. Sami Zayn was looking up at the lights yet again. Sami Zayn is more irrelevant now than I can possibly recall. I know Sami Zayn was more relevant when he was having jackass matches with Johnny Knoxville, I think his name was. And he was getting caught up in giant-sized mouse traps, and he was more relevant than he is now. And that's a shame, because a year ago, as of like this date, a year ago, Sami Zayn was possibly the biggest star in WWE, one of. Oh, how far the mighty have fallen. That's it. That's what I got for you guys, man. LA Knight and Ivar, R-Truth and McDonuts, Bronson Reed and Bobby, Liv Morgan and Zoe, New Day and Jey Uso versus Imperium. 3 hours of our Monday night primetime, man. Our entire Monday night with this garbage. I really hope that the show comes to life. It finds a pulse. It's actually written correctly. Care is put into it. And that, because we've seen it in the past, it's very few and far in between. It's once in a blue moon. But we've seen cards look miserable on paper, but they end up being really, really special when it plays out. So we're all going to be tuning in. We're going to be hoping for the best. Right? When I cut this review tomorrow on this channel, I hope we're talking about a lot of good stuff that has finally got us interested for WrestleMania and Elimination Chamber in the process. But if their goal is just to chuck 3, 4, 5 qualifying matches every show, every SmackDown, every Raw, you're going to need more than that. These are just matches. These are just matches. So when people go, I like when they do qualifying and they don't just name the names. Well, guess what? I don't. I can't stand it. I'd rather you just name the names so we can start to have good show. So they're forced to care about the show they're putting on. It's a schmoz match. 6 names are in these matches. It's 6 people. Just name them, right? Take the top people in the company. And if you're doing business properly, we should all know who those 6 are. But having a bunch of weird matches just to get into a schmoz match, this is absolutely ridiculous. Because it's an easy way out for the company. Let's just do a bunch of random matches. We'll put a headline that says qualifying match. And that'll make people fucking go, whoa, this is gonna be special. This is for all the marbles. Can you tell that this preview does not excite BC at all? Tell us how you really feel, BC. I'm going to leave it at that. We'll see what they put out tonight for us. And then, and I assure you, we will talk all about it tomorrow in the review show. I'd like to do that live. I cannot, or at least some point tomorrow, go live. We'll see. Especially for my members, man. We have to do a members-only live for all my channel members, my gold unit, my board of directors. We'll see. But you're definitely going to get an amplified review. So we'll see how the show goes tonight, and that'll dictate what that review is going to be like tomorrow. Moving on. Let's go over to Brock Lesnar, man. We'll nail this one off real quick. Brock Lesnar continues to be removed and even erased from WWE. Of course, he's caught up in this whole Vincent Kennedy McMahon scandal, or at least the latest version of it. And Brock Lesnar's being pulled from just about everything. He was pulled from the Royal Rumble, by the way. Pat on the back a little bit for BC. I was the very first person to break that news to you guys. No other reputable source broke that until hours later. That's right. BC was all over that one, man. Pulled from the Rumble. And Brock Lesnar was then pulled from WrestleMania subsequently. Lesnar was then pulled from all promotional material and pulled from the video games. And things real quick, too. The things like the video games, those are like partnerships, too. That's kind of on a different scale. So that's really big when you start getting pulled from those. But recently, as well, within the last 48 hours, Brock Lesnar has been removed from the WWE video signature packages, all of those intros to the shows. Brock Lesnar has been pulled. We're hearing that he's been replaced by LA Knight, which is pretty cool. That's a big step up for LA Knight. That's a yeah. But for Brock Lesnar, that's a oh, hell no. You know, when you get pulled from that opening signature in the video packs, you know that's not good. Ric Flair knows how special those are. When he got pulled from his, he was livid. All the things that he's had against the companies did to him or he's done to the company, being removed from that opening signature still irks Ric Flair to this day. And when he was put back on it, it was like one of the greatest achievements of his career, of his life. He talks about being put back on that signature like winning 16 championships. But anyway, man, Brock Lesnar pulled from it. LA Knight taking his place. So that's why I say it's more like being erased, not just removed, not just replaced, but erased from WWE. Brock Lesnar. So we're going to have to let the dust settle on that whole case. From what we're hearing is Brock never even had a meetup or anything with the person in question. But because he's kind of caught up in it right now, Endeavor just wants to separate and distance themselves from everybody involved. Of course, we know John Laurinaitis, people power. He's trying to throw everybody under the bus, right? He's like the rat. He's like the rat in the mob movie, right? And he's the one who's gonna throw everybody under the bus to try to save himself. A lot of wrestlers and former talent speaking out, going, yep, that sounds about right. That sounds like Johnny L. I would expect nothing less. I think Bischoff just recently said that too. Sounds about right, man. I'm not shocked at all that Johnny L would do that. But in all seriousness, it looks like Endeavor just wants to separate from everybody and anybody involved. And because Brock was even mentioned, that's the course of action. Once the dust settles, the smoke clears, possibly Brock could come back. But for now, he's completely being erased. Interesting. Oh, moving on, Chad Gable. This is interesting, right? It's a good debate anyway. Chad Gable is speaking out. He wants to finish his story. And his story is winning the IC championship from Gunther. Now, you guys remember, it was several months ago, Gunther and Chad Gable, they had a couple of good matches together. And BC said if they ever want to give that title to Gable through Gunther, I am more than okay with it, because Gable he has more than earned it. I don't want to say deserved, but he has more than earned that championship, and absolutely believable that he could conquer Gunther. In fact, as the Usos are my favorite tag team in pro wrestling, and that is the truth, that's how much I respect Jimmy and Jey Uso, I'll be the first to tell you, Jey Uso beating Gunther just doesn't feel right. It doesn't follow the trajectory of Jey Uso's career. You know, on one hand, you'd love to see that for the dude. But on the other hand, all of this for Gunther, the long title reign, all of the names that he's beaten, Jey Uso's beating him? Chad Gable could have easily, and most would say should have been that guy. It raises the discussion. Should they have given that title over to Gable when they had those matches? Or, as BC said, save the Gable match for the future. WrestleMania 40-ish, for instance, and then have Chad Gable take on Gunther very first time, kick-ass match, because we know that's what they would have, and Gable defeats Gunther. David overcomes Goliath, and that title is hoisted up. I don't care if it's the main event or not. Throw that dude some pyro. Chad Gable has made it to the dance. Instead, they threw those matches in the middle of Monday Night Raw. And Chad Gable was flat on his back looking up at the lights. A stepping stone to where Gunther is today. So then the question is, if you would like to see Gable be that guy, now they have to run it back. So you would be okay with that rematch. I would be under one condition. You know what I'm going to say like a broken record. If done properly. The story's there, right? He wants to circle the wagon. Gunther has beaten everybody else since, and he wants to be the guy. So if you fast track Gunther and Jey Uso for Elimination Chamber instead of WrestleMania, that leaves a spot open for Gunther's challenger. Instead of just hoisting up Brock Lesnar or Sheamus, which is the only other two names we're hearing, Braun Breaker, not Brock Lesnar, he's erased. Braun Breaker or Sheamus, those are the only other two names if it's not Jey Uso and Gunther at Mania, and they rushed that to Elimination Chamber. Instead of doing Braun Breaker, no, build him up. He doesn't need to be beating Gunther for his first match. And Sheamus, we've already done that, man. Mania last year, we saw him and Drew McIntyre versus Gunther. No, circle the wagons. Tell the story of Chad Gable wanting that one more chance. I'm more into that than Cody Rhodes in this damn story at this point. It's an interesting topic. I don't know how you guys feel. Should he have just won it the first time around? Should they have waited on that match? Is there still time? Should Gable still be the guy to beat Gunther? Or has that time passed? But Gable, he's speaking out. He wants to finish his story, and he wants that IC championship, and he wants it from Gunther. So we'll wrap up this upload with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, rocking back at what he calls, and I quote, toxicity and bullshit clickbait garbage, end quote, in the community. Unless you've been actually living underneath The Rock for the past couple of weeks, Dwayne Johnson made his return to WWE, and there's a portion of the fan base that just doesn't want to see The Rock. He's a part-timer, man. Cody's gonna finish his story, man. So they're not happy to see The Rock back. And I mean, it crossed the line so pathetically from just not wanting this guy back for a wrestling match, which he has not had in over 10 years. So let's not act like he's taking spots 16 times a year from individuals. If you can't get over in 365 days per year, every year, you can't blame Dwayne Johnson for that. It's going to take more than a main event stage at Mania to get your ass over at that point. Let's stop acting like The Rock is sabotaging Mania or the WWE. Relax. But that's what a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon, right? Kick him while he's down, the old mentality, right? So you had journalists, reporters, content creators, right? One dig after another on The Rock. Had nothing to do with a wrestling match at that point either. You were seeing crazy headlines like The Rock is bullying his way to the top backstage. The Rock is sabotaging WrestleMania and WWE. The Rock his ego is out of control. You were starting to see some outlandish absurdity in the community. And it was sometimes 2-3 times a day because you got to get the clicks, the views, the likes, the revenue, right? And The Rock was the person to drag. Thankfully, BC never went that way. I always like to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing because usually that's the right decision. You're the one that's going to be right? Everybody else is the sheep following along with the herd. And you're on your own island. And that's tough, right? When you're on your own island standing up for what you know is right, that can be a tough position to be in, but it's the most gratifying. So anyway, The Rock has had a rough go of it, but he's let it fly off to the wayside. He doesn't care. Wrestling fans are crying. For The Rock, that's nothing new. He used to love making the fans cry back in the day, a la Hollywood Rock. So it's business as usual for The Rock. But, you know, the other digs, the unnecessary ones, those are the ones where he's like, really, dude? But this one individual, Nick Sortor, took his recent boos from the Las Vegas press conference for Mania 40, and he somehow intertwined it with a political thing, the Maui wildfires from months ago. So this Nick Sortor says, and I quote, crowd in Vegas is booing The Rock, demanding that he follows through with aid for Maui. Now, maybe Nick just isn't a pro wrestling fan or didn't know the situation, but no, The Rock was not getting booed because people wanted him to donate more to the Maui wildfire relief. He goes on to say Oprah and Dwayne The Rock Johnson promised tens of millions to the victims of the Maui fires, but many victims still have not seen a dime. It looks like the audience is fully America first and is demanding The Rock and Oprah follow through with their commitment to take care of the people of Hawaii. The crowd started booing and chanting, Maui, Maui, Maui. Make it happen, says this Nick Sortor. Now, I saw the press conference. I did not hear anybody screaming, Maui, Maui. That would have been a funny chant. So I'm not sure what dude was listening to. Maybe he was just having some fun. I don't know. But The Rock, he had enough. He was like, really, dude? Somehow that and what we did in Vegas turned political? So Dwayne Johnson opened up big time. And I quote the response from Dwayne Johnson. I typically refrain from responding to toxic, false clickbait garbage like this because I hate dignifying bullshit with a response. But when you use Hawaii's tragic events to draw attention to yourself, I won't stay quiet. This moment you're referring to is from our WWE press conference this past Thursday, where I turned heel, wrestling parlance for bad guy. I'm playing it up with our crowd as they boo. It's what we do in our WWE universe, and we all love every second of it. For the record, our People's Fund of Maui has already delivered over $50 million to over 8,000 survivors who were affected by the fires, and I'm grateful to the bone that we've been the primary funders. Hawaii is where I grew up, where I raised my children throughout the year, and where my ancestors are buried. These are my Polynesian people, and these are our American people. You can't imagine how much they are still struggling daily to put their lives back together and take care of each other. Our Poly-American people are as resilient as people come, and they will raise and get back on their feet. Nick, instead of posting bullshit like this that you know is false, I encourage you to post something positive for Hawaii, for our Polynesian American people, or actually take positive action and come to Hawaii to help out in an uplifting way. I'm in Hawaii now, and I guarantee you'll get great content that can actually make a difference in people's lives, genuinely. Let's put our energy and our online platforms into lifting people up, acknowledging the good things that people do, raising awareness for the suffering in ways that can effectively help. It takes so much effort to be negative and create and spread bullshit, but when you spread positivity, kindness, and lead by example, you can really impact lives. I'm sorry to all our Poly Hawaiian Ohana of Maui for shining light on this toxicity as you struggle through tough times. I always try to be Na'au, Pono, love you. Listen, I don't speak Hawaiian, but much love to whatever that does say. He says, love ya, aloha, DJ. End quote. Ooh, that was a lot to unpack. First of all, let's go back to where he literally just outs his own story and he says, yes, I'm turning heel, I'm playing a character, it's what we do, and everybody loves it. Man, I miss a time in pro wrestling where we stopped telling everybody what we're doing, right? Even Dwayne Johnson, because of all these damn fans crying and forcing him to switch it up, now he feels like, screw it, nobody cares anymore anyway. WrestleMania's already freaking finished. Because everybody cried, everything's up in the air, and now nothing is even fun anymore. Even if Cody finishes a damn story, nobody cares anymore. Because everybody's just fighting and nobody knows what's going on. The water is muddied, the lines are blurred to the point where we can't see again. We just can't see. So I'm sure Dwayne Johnson just wants to finish this up and get out. I'm pretty sure Roman wants to wrap this up. I'm pretty sure Cody doesn't want to hear about a story for the rest of his existence. Sethington Rollins looks like a fool. And as far as the wildfires in Maui and all that, I don't know enough on the situation, so I won't even comment on that. Rock says that they are the primary funders at $50 million to over 8,000 survivors. I doubt he's BSing on that, because somebody who is the actual primary funder would say, wait a second, that's BS. I put up $51 million. You know what I mean? So I doubt he's BSing. Now, was that his money? Him and Oprah put up the 50? Or is that what he raised? And that's what people are pissed about, maybe, right? Like they put up some, but everybody else had to fork over the bulk of that 50. I don't know. Maybe that's why people were pissed. They didn't feel like The Rock did enough, maybe? I don't know. I try not to get in all that political stuff, man. I mean, if you're giving somebody millions of dollars of your money, I mean, that's pretty cool in itself. But I'm more focused on the wrestling aspect of this, that he feels that he has to tell people he's turning heel. I mean, that goes to show you everything is just, everybody looks bad now. Nobody cares about this damn finishing of the story. Everybody just looks goofy. It's so sad, man. And that's, I wanted to touch up on that, actually. A tag match, right? Before the Super Bowl, a little ad played of Rock and Roman walking up to Cody and Seth like they're pumping up a tag team match. And it doesn't look like it's going to be Elimination Chamber, guys. You have to stop that. The Rock is the biggest attraction in Hollywood, or one of, if not the. He's not going to be on a 5 a.m. PLE. The fact that people thought he was going to face Roman at 5 a.m. in Australia, of all places, because the government would really like The Rock. That was never going to happen. You don't put the biggest box office attraction at 5 a.m., even if it's a tag match. But what is that? How are you really going to get excited to see Sethington and Cody versus Roman and Rock? Ooh, a tag match. You could give that to me as a Raw or a SmackDown main event, and I would barely care. The Rock came back after 10 plus years to wrestle for a tag team match? Seth and Cody and all their battles, now they're a tag team so they can take out the evil empire of the bloodline. No, nobody should even be losing. I don't want to see Rock and Roman ever lose to any two people. And I sure as hell don't want to see Cody and Sethington lose either, man. What a tag match? All of this crying from the interweb machine may have just created a tag team match. A nonsensical BS tag match. The Rock's matches are limited. You either do the Rock and Roman or a consolation prize of the Rock and Cody one-on-one. But a tag match, no thank you. Of all the matches you could do with the Rock, a tag team match. Because people want to cry. I don't want to see the Rock and Roman. That's a dream match. Give me the tag team match. Unreal. Anyway, Raw is a few hours away. We'll be right back tomorrow with the Raw review. So until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace.